I want to start off this video by saying I don't think that drinking alcohol is completely immoral and that nobody should ever do it, because as you'll soon find out, I used to be a really bad influence about alcohol myself. But over the last few years, I've been able to effectively cut alcohol out of my life essentially completely by choice for several important reasons. And what has happened over the course of those years as one of the byproducts of cutting out alcohol has been nothing short of amazing. So in this video, I hope to bring you a maybe different or fresh perspective as to how you can look at alcohol drinking, partying, and that kind of a lifestyle, and maybe what sort of effect it's having on you that you may not notice if you're currently in it. Not to mention, of course, other ways that alcohol is affecting your life that are just not so obvious. What's good, YouTube? It's Coach John here. I'm repping Beyond the Iron. As you know, I drop weekly fitness videos to help you get to your fitness goals faster and in a more enjoyable way, lose fat, build confidence, and build energy levels. However, I'm gonna start making some more of these videos to really encompass more than just eating well and working out, but really overall self-improvement, development, mental health, all of these different aspects that I think are important as well. So with that said, if you're interested in those videos, make sure you smash the like button and the subscribe button so you don't miss out on the videos I drop every single week on these topics. I do want to let you know that my one-on-one coaching is currently open with some spots left for the new year. So if you're somebody who's interested in improving your life, especially on the fitness side of things, then make sure you click the link below beside apply now. We can jump on the phone and see if we'd be a good fit to work together to help you reach those goals this year. So I want to start this video off with a quick backstory so you get to know where exactly I'm coming from as somebody who doesn't drink alcohol anymore. You see, I know that there's a lot of people out there that don't drink, but they never really were heavy into drinking in the first place. And there's other people that were alcoholics and that's why they don't drink anymore. I was somewhere in the gray area where it wasn't necessarily a problem just yet, but I was definitely doing it quite often. And again, I feel like that is most relatable for people roughly my age, 25 years old, or even younger, even up to maybe 35 years old, where the party lifestyle is still prominent. Between the ages of basically 14 to 22 years old, I was partying avidly. So I'm talking 2, sometimes 3 times a week, every single week for the whole year. And when I would go and party, of course, I was drinking alcohol. And it usually wasn't a small amount of alcohol. It was typically what would be considered binge drinking almost every time. Sometimes were worse than others, but there were definitely a lot of times where I went out and the goal was to literally get blackout, as the cool kids used to say, which means, yes, the goal was to get as drunk as possible, pass out, throw up. It might sound crazy to a lot of you, but this just shows how used to this lifestyle and how kind of engulfed into the lifestyle I truly was. See, getting blackout obliterated was really just normal for us every single weekend. Now, even though I began taking the gym and my eating a lot more seriously at around 18 years old, I still couldn't let go of the party lifestyle. I understood that, hey, alcohol probably isn't gonna help me in the gym, but I also figured that I can do both. I can see amazing results in my physique and in my fitness and health and still have a good time, because ultimately that's what life is about, right? It's too short to not go out and drink and get hammered every weekend, right? Well, it's funny because the previous 4 years of working out from 14 to 18, I saw 0 results essentially. And again, I was avidly partying throughout this time. I just didn't take my workouts, or more specifically my nutrition, more serious. So I started doing that, but like I said, I didn't really give up the alcohol by any means. So what happened was, as I began taking that more seriously on the nutrition side and the fitness side, I started to really notice some better results. But I also noticed how detrimental these nights out of partying, drinking, and staying up late, all in combination, had on my progress, my performance in the gym, my sleep quality, my mood, and overall my body composition. So inherently, as I started leaning towards wanting to be healthier and see more progress in the gym and in my physique, I inherently began to realize and push away from this drinking, slowly but surely. Now I know what you're thinking, oh, well, that's easy for you to say because you became addicted to this and that was your passion, but that's not necessarily the case, as I'm going to go through soon. It had come to a point in my life where I really just turned to having a lot more ambitions, goals, dreams that I wanted to pursue, and I just felt like there was a lot more to life than just going out and incessantly partying all the time. And not to mention that when you're doing that for a certain amount of time, you start to realize it's all kind of really the same. It's the same type of people, the same groups of people, and doing the same thing, just getting mind-numbingly drunk and hooking up with each other other, or, you know, messed up things happening, fights breaking out, whatever it was, it all started becoming very repetitive and very boring to me as my ambitions in other aspects of life grew. And so by 24, I had basically given up drinking almost entirely. In fact, last year in 2019, so from 24 to 25, I drank twice the entire year. And it wasn't a belligerent drunk type of drinking either. So that just goes to show how much your life can change. And it's not just because of the switch of alcohol, but it definitely helped. So let's go on and talk about how I effectively got to this point. And by the way, no matter how caught up in the party lifestyle or drinking alcohol you are currently, this will apply to anyone, whether you're just drinking a little bit each day and you want to just cut that out, or if you're partying very hard each weekend like I was and you want to start weaning off that so you can actually pursue other areas, other goals in other areas of your life. So the very first thing I'd tell you is you need to make sure that you do this slowly. Cutting out alcohol, especially if you're into it heavily, is a slower process. Now, I'm not saying it's going to take you years like it did for me, but it's going to be very difficult for several reasons to go from partying and drinking all the time to just suddenly not doing it, because there's a lot more at work than just the want to have that desired effect when you're drinking alcohol, feeling drunk and feeling good. There's also the fact that you probably have a lot of friends that you're used to seeing at that time on the weekends that are used to you going out with them, having a good time with them, these types of things. And so for that reason, what I found worked very well for me is slowly weaning things off. So I'll give you an example. Like I said, I used to party multiple times a week. So let's say I would go out on an average year 100 plus times a year. So let's just say 100. Right? And most of those times I was binge drinking. Well, from there, once I started taking things seriously and I decided, okay, I think I want to start phasing this out, the next year, by accident, because I wasn't intentionally trying to cut it out, I just naturally moved away from it, I actually probably went out once a week, let's say, or once every other week. So let's say roughly 50 times in that year. So I actually cut it in half. It's still a lot of times, but I cut the frequency in half. So I went from going out twice, 3 times a week to once a week. And every time I went out, I started drinking a little bit less. Okay, so that's the second tip, is when you're going out, maybe hold on to a drink and sip on it for a while, right? Be a lot more cognizant, be a lot more aware as to the feeling you're at. Because if you start going past that threshold where you know things can get out of hand, the chances are you're just gonna keep going and you're gonna dig yourself into a deeper hole the next day. So with that said, those are the two first parts. So less frequency over time. Again, you can do this week to week. You can go from going out every week multiple times to going out once a week to going out once every other week, once a month, once every 2 months. Just like that, in a year, your entire life can change and you might be drinking alcohol a lot less. So that is basically what I did in the first few years. Again, you can speed this up if you were more intentional about it, which if you're watching this video, you might be. Definitely cut the frequency down slowly. People start to adjust a lot easier this way than if you just suddenly stop going out. I'm not saying you can't do that. I'm sure a lot of people have and could do it. But if you want to increase the chance of you actually doing this and adjusting to that lifestyle better so that there's no massive waves of emotion or whatever it may be, then weaning off of the frequency as to how often you drink should be done in a smooth but controlled fashion. Also, the quantity that you're drinking. So combine less frequency with less quantity of alcohol. Over time, your body adapts to it. Your body adapts to having less alcohol. Your tolerance begins to increase. And so having 2 drinks will get you the same effect now as it did before having 5 drinks, right? So you want to adjust, allow your body time to adjust. These things take time. If you've been drinking for a long time, it's not going to take you 2 days to get off of it. Similar to if you gained weight over the last 3 years, you're not going to lose it in a week. Now, here's the most important tip that I can give you that's going to increase, 1, the speed at which you let go of this habit if you want to, and 2, the ease to which it will be for you to adjust to not having it anymore. And this is the biggest tip I can give you. That is, find your purpose. Now, it sounds super cheesy, sounds super cliche, but listen to me on this. I know you might be thinking, well, I don't know what my purpose is. How am I supposed to find this? Very simple. All I encourage you to do is try to figure out something that you enjoy. And if I'm going to be honest, the first thing I would recommend if you're having trouble finding second is pursue a better physique or better health and fitness, right? Start going to the gym, start eating better, and see what happens, okay? If you don't know your purpose just yet, or if you don't know where your passion is, something that you love, it could be starting a YouTube channel that you've always kind of wanted to do in the back of your head, but you never did it. Maybe it's starting an Instagram page, a TikTok, or some sort of a influence platform you want to start. Maybe it's starting a business. Maybe it's reading more. Maybe it's learning how to do something on the computer, learning Photoshop or graphic design, right? Whatever it is, try to figure out, sit down alone in a room and write out some things that might interest you. And then from there, decide which one you're going to pursue. And again, I definitely urge you to make at least one of these things, if not the main thing for now, being your health and fitness, because as it did for me, any purpose you find or anything that you find in your life that you decide to pursue so you can improve yourself will naturally, inherently force you to want to avoid bad, detrimental habits such as drinking alcohol that prevent you from reaching that goal. See, as you improve, as you reach or move towards a goal, you feel better about yourself, you feel more accomplished, and you build momentum. That momentum is something that you're going to want to keep up. And so with that said, you're going to very quickly notice, if you go on a night drinking, I noticed this, you're going to kill your momentum. And because of that, you're going to start to realize, wow, okay, I can't just go out, get drunk, and pursue this thing that I want to pursue. And so you come to a crossroads where you're going to have to evaluate, what do you want more? And the answer is going to become very simple, because again, partying is a means to an end. It's a dead end. It's repetitive. It's a boring lifestyle. There's excitement here. So you need to find something that excites you, that moves you forward, that makes you feel better every day. Again, if you don't know what it is, health and fitness is the best place to start, because as it has for me, it's going to change the direction of your life. And so once you have that purpose, or once you decide to pursue something to improve yourself, to reach a goal, you're naturally going to move away from the alcohol. Again, this is going to speed up the rate at which you give it up, because you're going to stop caring about what other people think about you, which was a huge thing that you must have if you're going to stop drinking alcohol. You see, drinking alcohol, in my opinion, is something that's done more socially. People want to go out, get hammered because they think it's a better time. Really, they think it's better because, one, they feel better, which means they probably don't feel so good to begin with. Two, it kind of takes out all the stress and anxiety in your life and helps you live now in the moment. The issue with that is that it's temporary, and you need to consume something to achieve that effect, which means that effect is going to be taken from you in the form of the hangover. There's a consequence afterwards. And of course, people will have more confidence, they have more energy, they are more of who they wish they were, in a sense, if they were sober. But they're not that, because they don't take the time to improve themselves. And so alcohol kind of fills that gap, it fills that void. And of course, they start to create this expectation with people around them that expect them to come out, drink, you're the life of the party, man, come on, don't be a party pooper. There's peer pressure involved. And so you're releasing any sort of attachment to what any other person thinks, makes it that much easier to give up and say, no, you know what, I'm not coming out, because you don't feel insecure that you're missing out on something. Whereas most people, they feel like, oh my God, if I don't go out, I'm missing out. They're gonna have fun without me. I'm gonna miss out on this. I'm not gonna be part of that night, or whatever it may be. I've been there before, and I'm here to tell you, when you're chasing a bigger purpose, when you're chasing a goal, when you wanna accomplish something and all of your energy becomes focused towards it, you feel better every day. You wake up motivated. You don't want anything that's gonna kill that drive, and you start to really not care what others think. If they don't support you, doesn't matter. If you have friends that are just your friends because you drink together, then you'll be fine with letting them go if you have to. Okay, no hard feelings. I've just changed what I'm trying to go after. I've decided that I'm going to pursue this in my life, something with more purpose. And partying incessantly and drinking alcohol and getting hammered and destroying my body is not fitting into that rubric. So I hope that that was kind of a mixture of different things in one, but as you can tell, I'm passionate about this because I have found something to go after. I've decided on goals. I've been chasing goals, and I've really learned the happiness that you achieve on a day-to-day process of striving to meet those goals. And so cutting out alcohol became second nature. I never planned on cutting it out entirely. I never hated alcohol to be like, oh, alcohol is the worst thing ever. But when I started waking up hungover and my productivity was destroyed, my momentum for that week was gone, and I had to rebuild, and I felt terrible, and my performance in the gym was bad, my energy levels were low, and all these issues. I would get sick more. Then it started to become obvious, like, why am I even doing this? Why am I even drinking alcohol? So then I just inherently cut it down. I said, well, hey, I can have a beer, I can have 2 beers, I'm not gonna feel anything, right? And sure, there's the social aspect, but why do I have to get drunk? Because everybody started expecting me to. Everybody expects the John who's hammered, going around, yeah, man, yeah, oh, what's up? Okay, more shots on me, let's go. That kind of a guy, when in reality, it's just, it's a means to an end. Right? And it's really just to please other people because you don't feel good about yourself. Maybe you do for 2 hours, then what? The next 2 days you feel terrible. And so these are some of the insights in my mind that allowed me to make it easy to cut out alcohol. It took me a lot longer. Now I'm transferring this information to you, so hopefully you can take it and make a speedier sort of a transition, and boom, you'll be well on the path to reaching your goals without this massive distraction and momentum killer always lurking in the background. So with that said, I'm just gonna elaborate a little bit on some of the reasons why I gave up alcohol and why I would recommend it to anybody out there who's thinking about it, who wants to reach goals and realizes alcohol is not for them. The first thing is the release peer pressure, right? So I mentioned this a little bit, but basically not caring what others think has to be the most liberating, the highest form of maturity that exists for a human being. Okay, well, the second you can release opinions, what others think about you, and live your life the way you want to, assume that it's moral, ethical, something that's good, right? Something that's creative, not destructive, then by all means, you will realize what matters in life and what doesn't. And when I got to that point where I just didn't care what anybody thought, that's when I started a YouTube channel. That's when I started a business. That's when I stopped drinking. I stopped smoking. You know, I cut out some people that I had to cut out. I added others that I added. I added people to my life that back when I was over here, I would have never been friends with these people. But really, I just didn't realize that these people were driven to something greater. And I was over here like, look at those losers. They're so boring and this, that, and the other. So releasing what people think about you, releasing attachment to that and not caring has been one of the most liberating things. And I think cutting alcohol will severely accelerate that process, or vice versa. You not caring because of you finding that purpose will accelerate the process of you cutting out the bad habit. Obviously, there is the obvious benefits: performance day-to-day, your energy levels day-to-day, confidence, depression, anxiety is going to be minimized, more clear-headed, right? More focused, more momentum, more drive. All of these things are positives. More strength in the gym, better cardio, just all the health benefits. We know what those are. Another thing that isn't mentioned often is how often I used to get sick. I used to get sick multiple times a year when I was drinking all the time. Since I've quit, right, or at least reduced it to the point where I'm basically not drinking ever anymore, I haven't gotten sick in the last 2 years. Your immune system's gonna be boosted. Your organs are working better. You know, when you're ingesting alcohol, it is essentially toxic to the body. And so without that toxicity, your body's always working optimally for the most part. It's gonna be very difficult to get sick. Another thing is better sleep. People that only drink 1 beer every night or a glass of wine, you might think it's harmless, but it still could impair your sleep right before bed. And sleep is so crucial, it's unbelievable. I'm gonna have I've got other videos on the channel about that already, but sleep is everything. So you'll experience much better sleep, especially over time of not drinking. The sleep gets better and better. Now here might be one of the most, if not the most important one, learning to enjoy life as it is. So what do I mean? Well, I'm at a point now where I can enjoy life more sober at every moment of the day, be conscious, be present, so much more than I ever could have experienced with any drugs or any alcohol, okay? So if you can get to that point, you can still go out with your friends. They might be a little bit disappointed at first that you're not drinking because it makes them feel worse about themselves, but I'll tell you this, I go out not drinking, not having a drop of alcohol sometimes, and I'm the life of the party. I'm not trying to brag, I'm just saying I have a lot of energy. I'm laughing, I'm making jokes, I'm doing this. People are always serious, they're like, so who's driving home? And I'm saying, well, I'm driving. They're like, aren't you like hammered right now? No, I'm perfectly sober, let's go baby. While everybody else is hammered, can barely walk, running into walls, I'm here perfectly sober, sharp as a tack, and just good to go. Another tip I want to give you, just to kind of go in with that tip, is becoming the designated driver is always a good tip, right? It's always an excuse. I started really becoming the designated driver often. Oh yeah, like I gotta wake up early, so I'll drive. And sure, you might have to pick up some people and maybe drive them home. That's fine. It's keeping you better state of mind. You wake up the next morning, you feel good. That's fine. If you need to, you can put that in there, and it's going to force an excuse on you that you cannot drink, right? So that's definitely a huge tip, something I used for years to slowly wean off of it. But trust me, when I say that enjoying life to its max when you're sober, really enjoying it more sober than when you need a drug or alcohol is the most powerful thing of all time, because you'll never feel like you're missing out on anything. Because people going out and partying and drinking and getting hammered, you're like, thank God I'm not going out getting hammered because I feel amazing. You start to enjoy your own company better. It all kind of comes into one. So all of these things that people don't realize that alcohol does, in the sense of it takes away enjoyment. People are under the impression that it gives them enjoyment, but it's a temporary external substance that you require for that. It means that you're not fully there internally to enjoy life. Life was meant to be enjoyed sober for a reason. If you're clear-headed enough, if you're conscious enough, if you practice and develop habits and you're chasing a purpose, you'll be higher on life than you could ever get on any other drug. And there's no better feeling. Another thing that I need to mention, one of the most important, is a momentum killer. Alcohol is the momentum killer. Momentum is one of the most important things if you're trying to reach a goal, trying to improve yourself. And what is momentum? It's essentially like trying to push a car. When you've got a stationary car and you try pushing it, let's say it's a huge, like a SUV, right? An Escalade. You try pushing it, it requires so much force at the beginning just to get it moving a little bit, right? So you're pushing as hard as you can, using every muscle in your body. But then over time, as it starts rolling, you can use less and less effort to get it moving faster and faster. That's momentum. And the more it's going, eventually you keep that habit up, you keep building upon it, you've got that Escalade going downhill, and it becomes harder to stop than it becomes harder to start. But alcohol kills momentum. If you get hammered, you wake up that next day hungover like crazy, it kills your momentum and you have to restart, because it doesn't take just one day to recover. It usually takes multiple days, and then you're rebuilding that momentum, which is a very painful process. Something a lot of people overlook, something I've experimented in my life to realize that alcohol demolishes your momentum, and that sucks. And overall, like I mentioned already, just more fun in life, more consciousness, less stress, less anxiety, no depression, all just clear-headed, better understanding, better focus on what really matters. I couldn't tell you how my life went from when I was drinking so much, just being a bum, somebody that, wouldn't be leading by example to anybody, from now becoming somebody that, thousands of people watch and message me all the time. I don't take this to heart by any means. I don't think that, I'm suddenly so good and better than other people, but I'm definitely better than the old version of myself. And seeing it rub off on others around me is truly a blessing, and it makes me even more motivated, even more focused, which inherently pushes the alcohol even more away. You see, so enjoying life more is what can await you if you give up alcohol. I get it, some people like alcohol, that's fine, but maybe ask yourself, do you have a purpose that you're chasing? Because if you did, and if that purpose really meant something to you, if it meant to leave a legacy or whatever it may be, even just improving yourself, seeing how far you could take it, how far you could take it if you really tried, you'll start to realize that alcohol has no place in that. It has no place. Again, this is just a perspective I'm offering for anybody out there who needs to hear this message, who's interested in pursuing their dreams and goals. So with that said, that's all I'm really going to say here. I know it's a very long video, and I apologize for that, but definitely a topic I'm passionate about. It's just self-improvement in general. And the more you start to steer towards that path of self-improvement, the more you start to steer away from the things that hold you back from it. Personally, I think we all think to an extent, deep down, alcohol is one of those things that holds you back from it. And so if you feel lost in life, if you're constantly stressed, have anxiety, you're out of shape, you're not that confident, your energy levels are low, you're not really pursuing things, you're kind of walking aimlessly through life, well, usually that goes hand in hand with somebody who drinks a lot. And so I urge you to maybe take a day, take some time on your own with your thoughts, and figure out what is something that maybe could change the course of your life forever as it did mine. And maybe start pursuing that. health and fitness is a good start. Once you start down that road, I promise you, you're not going to want to look back once you see the fruits of that labor. And alcohol is going to be long gone by that point. So that's just my take on alcohol. That's how I stopped. I gave you a little step-by-step there. It's also why I stopped. And I hope that this video is powerful enough to at least reach one person out there who knows that making this change could positively impact themselves and the people around them. So if that's you, congrats. I hope you make the change. And anyone else, if you're still watching, I appreciate you for watching. Make sure you hit the like button if you liked it. Make sure you comment below anything else you'd like to see, or if you want to see more topics like this. I've got a batch of other topics similar to this, how I cut this out or how I did this. So if you're interested in seeing those, leave a comment below and I'll be sure to make more. And don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss out on more content like this to help you get to your goals in life, in fitness, health, everything, faster and in a more enjoyable way. Thanks so much for watching. Really appreciate you. I'll see you in the next one. I'm out.